Even toxic reality shows can teach us love lessons. Here are my three biggest takeaways from season 10 of Love is Blind, which is now officially over. Reunion done. Drama aired. I watched the reunion, and this is what I took away from it. And I hope that these are three lessons that can help you in your dating life going forward. Number one, looking at the couple of Brittany and Devante. There is so much that I can say about this couple. There's actually a lot of lessons here, but I think the main takeaway that I want to share with you is that clarity is kindness. It is not kind to ghost someone. It is not kind to tell somebody that there's a possibility that the two of you might work out when you know that there isn't. That's what Devante did. Even though Brittany could have looked at his behavior and seen that he clearly wasn't into it. I've certainly seen this with many of my clients through the years and friends and people that I know, where somebody is maybe not showing up exactly how you want them to show up, but they're telling you, no, I like you, I want to be with you. And then it can kind of make you start to feel a little bit crazy, like, well, am I wrong? And why would they say that if it wasn't true, et cetera, et cetera. I have seen so many people waste so much of their time by staying in situationships with people, relationships with people whose actions don't match their words. And that's another lesson. But the main lesson that I want to share is when you are in the position of being the person who realizes that this isn't going to work out, this isn't your person, maybe initially you were interested, but the interest has waned for whatever reason, that telling them that is actually kind. I'm not saying that it is easy, and I'm not saying that it's even always going to be well received, but one of the most unkind things that you can do in dating is to leave people in a state of confusion. So I want to encourage you, my lovers, to be very transparent with people and to have that tough conversation and to say, I've enjoyed getting to know you, but I don't think that we are a match and I wish you well. And then move on. It's not about dragging out a long conversation, but you do want to say something, because leaving people hanging, leaving people with a hope that things are going to work out when you know that they aren't, is not kind, but clarity is. Lesson number two, karma is real. So when we look at the couple, Jessica and Chris, Chris is the internet's biggest punching bag right now. And if you did watch the reunion, then you know that everyone piled on Chris, including the hosts. And I actually felt a little bit bad for Chris. Not that bad, but I did feel a little bit bad. But I think the real lesson here that we can learn from Chris's behavior, which was to, while he was, engaged to Jessica, to even in the same physical space as her, go to another contestant, tell the other contestant that he liked the other contestant more than he liked Jessica, and just be generally douchey, rude, inconsiderate, disrespectful, and to do it in plain sight of his fiance and on camera, which is also, not the smartest move. But I think that in that moment when he did that, he really felt like, well, he had a chance with someone else and he wanted to shoot his shot. I can only deduce that in that moment, he thought that he had a chance with somebody else and he wanted to shoot his shot. And not only did that not work, but it backfired so spectacularly. Now his reputation is ruined. Now he has multiple people who have told him to his face, and many, many more on the internet who were saying really terrible things about him. And this is not a situation that you are likely to find yourself in unless you go on a reality dating show. However, the lesson that karma is real and how you treat people will come back to you. It will come back to haunt you, is something that I think needs to be said, and a reminder that a lot of people need. And this even relates to what I was just saying about being unclear when you're dating someone. That's unkind, and that also creates a kind of karma. And you might find, when you are the person who is behaving in these ways towards other people, you're going to probably find yourself in more and more situations where the same thing is happening, and that becomes a pattern. And I say this with all of the love and kindness, but we are all the co-creators of our patterns. And so looking at what might I be doing, how am I showing up in my interactions when I'm dating with people, that's actually coming back to haunt me, even if it's not with that particular relationship. Maybe I'm just stuck in a pattern now that I've created of operating in this way. And if so, then I really want to encourage you to break that pattern, because we all have done things that we're not proud of in life. However, taking responsibility and recognizing that, hey, if I show up in a crappy way in this relationship, that actually impacts me, not just the other person, but it impacts me. So remember, in dating, karma is real. Treat other people the way that you want to be treated. It's really just that simple. It makes life a lot easier, and it is the more mature and loving way to move through the world. Lesson number 3. Vic and Christine. So, this is the couple that from the very first episode, it was clear that these two were very, very aligned. And I really think that is the big takeaway from this couple. I don't have a crystal ball. I am not sitting here saying that they're going to have a beautiful relationship forever. I don't know. However, I do know that when I first saw them on the show, I said, these two seem really aligned. I really feel like they're a good match. The matchmaker and me said, yeah, these two go together. And the lesson here is that alignment matters, especially when you are looking for a long-term committed partnership. There's so much magical thinking that can go into dating of, well, we don't want the same things, or we don't have the same values, or we don't have the same belief system, or we don't want the same kind of life, but they're so great and I'm so attracted to them and maybe we can all work it out. And my point here is not that you have to have every single thing in your life be exactly the same. It's not about sameness, but it is about alignment. And when you have major misalignments, which we can see with other couples on the show, whether it's somebody being very clear that they want to have a family and the other person being like, I don't want to have a family, or I don't think I want to have a family. These are major issues. And when chemistry is at play and when you meet somebody that you like, it can start to feel like, well, maybe I should be more open, or maybe I can convince them this, or maybe I can convince them that. But honestly, I have seen this so many times, and it rarely ends well when you have fundamental misalignments. And so with Vic and Christine, I think that their, success on the show and their apparent real, happiness together as a couple is a good reminder that alignment matters, and showing up as your true self in dating 100% matters, because if you don't do that, then how will you find the people who are actually aligned with you and not just with the version of yourself that you were showing up on a date as? So being your authentic self takes a level of courage. It takes a level of transparency. It takes a level of vulnerability, but that is exactly how you find the people who are right for you. And so I really want to encourage you all to take a page out of Vic and Christine's book, because what they did really well on the show was that they were just honest with who they were and what they wanted, what they believed in, the kind of life, the kind of marriage they want to have. They were very clear with each other about that on day one. And they weren't just saying, oh, yeah, me too, to get along. They were genuinely speaking from their hearts, and things have worked out well for them. So I wish them very good luck. I wish all the couples on the show good luck, but I wish you, my lovers, the best of luck in love and dating. And I hope that these 3 lessons, clarity is kindness. It's not always easy to be clear, but it is the mature thing to do, is the right thing to do. And that brings me to the second lesson, which is karma is real. So if you show up in relationships, you show up in dating in ways where you're not showing up as a kind person, you're not showing up as your best self, you're making decisions that are very hurtful to the other person, you're betraying them, you're disrespecting them, that will come back to you, whether it's in now a pattern of repeating that lesson over and over again until you learn it, or in how it might harm you in your reputation, in your experience, in your ability to date other people in the future, because now people know that you are not someone who is trustworthy to take responsibility and to do better in the future, which is what we always hope to do. And last but not least, remember how much alignment matters. So showing up as your true self, being honest about what you want, taking the time to get clear about what you want and what is that vision of the relationship that you want to co-create with another person is so, so important. It saves you so much difficulty in dating. You deserve that alignment. Everyone does. And I wish you so much luck on your dating journey. And thanks to all the couples in Love is Blind for, you know, whether we like them or not, whether we agree with what they did or not, they were putting themselves out there, and they did show us all the good, the bad, the ugly of dating. And there's a lot to be learned from that. Speaking of, make sure that you stay, because your heart work is coming up in a moment. But I also want to let you know, if you are seeing this before March 28th, 2026, I am hosting a live workshop called Your Meet Cute Moment, which is about how you can start to meet people organically in the real world, off of the apps, off of social media. And if that's something that's interesting to you, make sure you check out the link. I will pin it in a comment below. And if you see this before March 18th, you can take $25 off with the code EARLYBIRD. Okay, hope to see you there. Stay tuned for your heart work.